Well, hello. I want to say thank you for joining today and checking out this very simple and easy plant-based pumpkin bread recipe. You can easily turn this into muffins if you wanted. So I'm going to go through how to make this together, and it's really simple and pretty straightforward. So you want to start out with 4 bananas. I know I said pumpkin bread, but the bananas are going to take the place of egg, and you want them to be really ripe. So I have 3 bananas already in my bowl. So you're going to peel them, and then you're going to mash them. So there's a number of ways that you can mash them. You can mash them with a fork. You can mash them in a stand mixer. Many different options. I'm going to use a potato masher. You can even use a hand mixer if you wanted. If you don't have a stand mixer, we had one and I sold it because I just never used it and it was so big, it took up so much space. So the key to this is the more mashed the bananas, the better. You don't really want them to be chunky. That's why if they're really ripe, it does better. It's a good workout for your shoulder. Good. I'm going to give it one more go. Okay. All right, you're done with the masher. To the potatoes, to the bananas, you're going to add a half a cup of plant-based milk. We use Planet Oat. You could use Oatly. You could use any plant-based milk that you wanted, but we just much prefer oat milk. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of applesauce to the oat milk. I'll show you what I'm doing in just a second. Move that to the side. So I've just got the oat milk in a measuring cup, and I'm mixing the 2 of them together. So pour that in. Make a little mess. So you're going to add in half a cup of brown sugar. You could use maple syrup if you wanted. If you use maple syrup, I recommend just using a 1/4 cup. I don't put quite half a cup in there. I don't want it too sweet. I want it to be sweet, but I don't want it to be sugary sweet. Alright, and then I'm going to mix that up, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to let, this is coconut oil, so you want 1 tablespoon of that to go in as well, and you want it to be melted. So I'm going to melt that on the stove. Goodness, nice and sticky. I am not a fan of dry bread. I do not like dry muffins and dry bread. And when you're cooking plant-based, not using egg and not using butter, it is important to get the wet ingredients just right so it's not drying. It feels like you're choking. So I'm just lightly mixing this all together. Mix it all together with the dry ingredients in just a second, but I just want to get this all incorporated. Now this can be banana bread. It doesn't have to be pumpkin. I'll show you how in just a minute to make it just banana bread, and it's really good too. It's actually how I started this recipe. Alright, coconut oil is and warm. Okay. Give that another stir, and then we're going to move on to the dry ingredients. I like to clean up as I go, if I can. So I'm going to move these things around. All this back up. It's going to go in the fridge. Okay. Moving on to the dry ingredients. So I've got my bowl. This is what I use as a sifter. It's just a really inexpensive colander from IKEA. So you're going to start with, this is whole wheat flour. Un momento. You could use white flour if you wanted. Okay, so this is whole wheat flour, King Arthur. Now the trick to baking is not to scoop your dry ingredients, but to spoon it and then just lightly level it. So just give it a shimmy and a shake and let it get leveled. Otherwise, when you scoop it, it gets too compact and you actually get more flour than you want. So we are doing 1 cup of flour. I have my Spotify going if you're wondering what that noise is. Okay. A little bit more. Okay, so 1 cup. Then you're going to do half a cup of pumpkin protein powder. Now, if you are making this just plain banana bread, then I recommend using just vanilla protein powder. I use Arbonne. It's vegan. It is so yummy. It tastes amazing. It's just pea protein. But this is their limited edition flavor, pumpkin spice. So I highly recommend getting it, not just to make smoothies, but to bake with. Okay, so half a cup of the pumpkin spice protein powder. And I'll link to it so if you do want some. Okay. Let's see. This is cinnamon. I like it pretty cinnamony, so that's probably 1 teaspoon. Excuse me. That pumpkin protein got in my nose. This is nutmeg, so just a little bit of nutmeg. And I always get this confused, so it's going to be 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I guess you could buy self-rising flour and not have to do this. Okay. And then half a teaspoon of baking soda. All right. A little pinch of salt. This is just sea salt from Trader Joe's. And then the final thing is almond flour. It's half a cup of almond flour. If you wanted to make your own, you could just use raw almonds, which is what this is. I have a milling blade from my NutriBullet in a small cup. So I'm just going to mill this up. You could also do it in a food processor. That works really well. I've added a little bit of whole flax seeds. Those golden roasted whole seeds, so whole flax seeds. Just to give it kind of a nutty flavor. These are the almonds that I used. I actually got these from Lidl. They're called Just Nuts Raw Almonds. This is pretty loud, just FYI. still a little, I already made some earlier, so I'm just gonna put it all together and then level out my half a cup. Some of the almonds are still a little chunky. I don't mind it just because I like the chunky nuts in the bread. So I'm gonna put that in. And let me move all this out of the way. Clean as I go. Okay, and then just sift. Gosh, it smells so good. So the chunky almond pieces, I'm just gonna dump that. And I'm gonna give it a whisk too, even though I've sifted it, I'm just gonna make sure it's good and incorporated. The protein powder is a different texture than the whole wheat flour, so I wanna make sure that it gets nice and incorporated. All right, now just take the wet ingredients and mix it into the dry ingredients. You can whisk it. Again, you can do this in a stand mixer if you wanted. And then just stir, stir, stir. This is makeup-free Sunday. I'm filming this on a Sunday. We've already been to the store today. I'm gonna plan the week after this. We've got chili in the crock pot. Front door's open. It feels so good outside. And every Sunday, I give my skin, my face a break, and I don't wear any makeup. I don't wear that much makeup during the week, but if I am working with clients, private work, or if I'm working with my accountant client, then I do wear makeup. So it's just a nice breathing day for my face. I do put some serums on, some vitamin C serum, and I think it likes it. Okay, so it's all incorporated. Now if you wanted to make muffins, you would just get a muffin tin. I'm gonna go with bread. This is my bread pan from an estate sale. And I'm going to use parchment paper. We don't use the spray nonstick mainly because it's aerosol and I don't know how good that is for you breathing it in, and I don't know that it's good for our planet. So I'm going to use parchment paper. Just kind of press it down. Just pour it in slowly. I highly recommend just going slow. Whoop, acorns falling in. So you're gonna preheat the oven to 325. We have a convection oven. And then you're gonna bake it for between an hour to an hour and a half. Just kind of watch it. I feel like it's still a little too mushy at an hour. So we usually go anywhere between an hour and an hour 20. Definitely gonna let that roll. Since Raymond's not here, I'm gonna do it. Just kind of leveling it out. You could add walnuts or other nuts if you wanted. I'm gonna trim the paper slightly. Parchment paper is so easy to bake with. And that's it. Simple, easy. Put it in the oven. I have one in the oven already, so we'll take a look at that one. So let me put this in. I start the timer at 1 hour, and then I just check it as I go. All right, let's see how this guy looks. It's been in for a little over an hour and 20. Well, still hot. Still hot. And let's see what we got. This would be really good with dairy-free vanilla ice cream. Oh my goodness. So good. As you can see, it's really hot, but I'm gonna try it anyways. This is really good. It does still have a hint of the banana flavor, but I don't mind it. If I wanted to make it more pumpkin-y, I could substitute 2 bananas for pumpkin puree. I might try that next time. But this is going to be breakfast and snacks all this week. So if you make it, let me know what you think and how it turns out for you. And I hope you enjoy your pumpkin bread. All right, bye.